Welcome to the Pavilion. In this video, I'll be showing you how I strip part of an older painting and add some fresh layers, giving it more depth and a more permanent texture. One of my favorite things about encaustic painting is that you can always go back, even years later, and keep working on a painting if you need to. You can add more layers, but more importantly, you can take away layers, even all the way down to the wood. So many of my older experiments feel unfinished, and one of the reasons I finally understood is because they lacked meaning and focus. Each one taught me things and was created out of love, but many of them lacked depth and symbolism. In pondering how to convey my thoughts and intentions into my work, I finally discovered my love of circles. I love creating circles, especially inside squares like this. It creates the concept of focus. Our eyes can focus on very little at any given moment, and we focus on what we truly care about. Putting something inside a circle like this shows that it is something that we truly care about. We ignore so many other things in order to concentrate on what is within our view. That is what I hope the circle conveys in each of my pieces. The things that we choose to focus our attention on, the things we choose to love. The corners of the woodboard, with their mostly blank negative space, is where everything else we choose to ignore in favor of this one idea, this one place, reside. If you love encaustic art and are looking for more ways to learn, I invite you to subscribe to my channel and add your email to my newsletter. There's a link in the description. I'll send you updates about new workshops, perks for memberships when you join my channel, new artwork available for purchase, and more. Whether you're a collector, an experienced artist, or just getting started with encaustic, there's something for everyone here. This piece I worked on when I was just learning how to do shellac burns. You can see how basic the burn is. It doesn't look great. But one of the things I've learned is that layers of shellac burns make even the most unflattering shellac burn pattern look much better. So rather than scraping the entire piece and starting over, I decided to add more layers and let them all work together. I have to say, I'm pretty surprised that I matched the color so well. I used India ink for the first burn, and these later burns are of course colored with powdered pigment directly into the shellac itself. India ink does work fine for shellac burns, but you have to add the ink directly to the wax first, and then add shellac on top of it. Do not add India ink directly into your shellac. Since India ink is water-based, it's totally incompatible with shellac, which is alcohol-based. They do not mix. I learned that the hard way. To show you what layers of shellac can do, here's a picture of the first layer all by itself. And now with 3 layers. There's so much more depth. And here come the mistakes. I didn't even think before I tried recarving the circle in the wax, and I only got a quarter of the way around before I realized that wasn't what I wanted to do. I didn't need a deep defined line this time, so I went to fuse the line away as much as I could, and some of the blue from the shellac melted out of the circle where I didn't want it. It made a bit of a mess. So I had to spend some time scraping that area clean. That meant that once the color was gone, the wax was much thinner in that area. So I used my stylus to carefully rebuild that tiny part. It was right outside the circle, so I fused it as carefully as I could, going slowly, not rushing. It looks much cleaner now, thank goodness. It takes some time, but you can always fix your mistakes. It's still aggravating when they happen, though. When I initially created this piece, I used a stencil brush, dabbing it straight up and down into warm wax to create this kind of stippling texture. I tried to do that again over the additional layers I added, but my stencil brush burned on my palette and the bristles just fell apart when I did it. So I had to rethink things. I decided that I would try to do some accretion, but I needed a rougher surface for the wax to cling to after adding those additional layers. If you don't understand what I mean by accretion, it's a technique where you gently cold brush wax over the top of your painting over and over again, fusing gently in between, and the layers of wax begin to build up in certain places, creating this cool texture. You can see that in a video here. Anyway, I needed a bit more roughness for the wax to cling to, so I used my stylus all over the land portion of my map to rough up the surface. Of course, as I was going along, I started loving this texture even more, and decided to keep it. No accretion this time, just a beautiful map of a beautiful place. Can you tell where this is? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more encaustic techniques and meaningful paintings. See you in the next video.